Our learning target for today is I can decompose and compose fractions greater than 1 to express them as improper fractions or mixed numbers. So we're looking at the fraction 7/3, and we can notice immediately that our numerator is larger than our denominator, so our fraction is an improper fraction. And we need to figure out how we can turn this into a mixed number that is equivalent to 7/3. So I can start by thinking to myself, well, what's 1 whole equal to in thirds? I know that 1 whole is equal to 3/3. My numerator is the same as its unit. So now I can skip count. I can use my knowledge of factors. How many times can I fit 3 into 7 without going over? So if I was to add 3/3, then I would have 3 plus 3 is 6, so 6/3. 3 plus 6 is 9/3. And already I see that I've gone too high. 9 is now larger than 7, so I have to stop at 6/3. So I'm going to create a number bond, and the first part of my number bond is going to be 6/3. And now I'm going to look at what's left over. So I have 6 as my numerator. I started with 7. 6 plus what will make 7? I know the answer is 1. So the two parts of my number bond are going to be 6/3 and 1/3, which can be rewritten in a mixed number because 3 goes into 6 evenly twice. So 6/3 is the same as 2 wholes. And I have 1/3 remaining. So that means that 7/3 is the equivalent or the same or equal to 2 and 1/3. We can also use multiplication to solve this. So we've got our number bond showing 6/3 and 1/3. We're using our knowledge of factors, and I know that 3 times 2, I'm going to write this bigger so I'll erase. 3 multiplied by 2 was what made 6. So we know that 3/3 multiplied by 2 will make 6/3. Remembering that there's that secret agent 1 underneath, and we just multiply across. So 3 times 2 makes 6. 3 multiplied by 1 is 3. We have our 6/3, and then we need to add what's left over, which in this case is that 1/3 from before. So we can use both multiplication and a number bond to show our thinking. We could also just say in our head, well, I know 3 goes into 7 twice, using my knowledge of factors, and then that gives me 6. I have 1 left over, and my unit needs to stay the same, so I have 1/3. But we want to come back to make sure we're showing this with multiplication or a number bond. So we'll try one more together, and then we'll try some on our own. So we have the fraction 13/5. In this case, I know my fraction that is equal to 1 whole is 5/5. So I can skip count 5/5, 10/5, and I know if I add another 5, I'll have 15. That'll be too much, so I'm going to stop at 10/5. So that's going to be the first part of my number bond, and then I'm going to think, what do I have left? I've used 10 in my numerator of my 13, so I have 3 left because 10 plus 3 makes 13. And 5 goes into 10 twice. So I have 10/5 plus 3/5 equals 13/5. And I'm going to turn this into a mixed number by saying 5 goes into 10 twice, which gives me 2 wholes. And I have 3/5 remaining. So 13/5 is the same as 2 and 3/5. We could also say that we're doing 2 multiplied by 5/5, and we added 3/5 to find our answer. So using our knowledge of both factors to help us create our number bonds and our multiplication equations. You're going to have 2 to try on the next slide.